Would you like to know how you can buy seeds once and never have to buy them again? In today's video, I'm going to show you how I planted just a couple seeds from each of these packs and ended up with all of these. Alright guys, so we're out here in my garden, and this is what used to be the melon bed. I've got lots of zinnias over here. If you don't know, we just moved to this property this year, and they already had this space kind of as their garden and just planted here for this year, but we are going to be building lots of raised beds here very soon. So the garden's going to look very different next year. But for this year, I just went ahead and planted a lot of things in this. It's about 40 foot long. This side was where my melons and basil and things like that were, and then behind me I have all my tomatoes and some beans and some other things, lettuces and things like that were over on that side. But here we have a lot of zinnias around the garden, and you can see that the frost has got to them, and a lot of them are just getting to where they're at the stage that they can be saved for seed. I've already got some flowers in the house, but I just wanted to show you these really quick, what they're looking like. We've got lots of varieties. I have pinks, purples, yellows, oranges, reds, whites. Alright guys, I'm going to interrupt this video just for a moment to announce another giveaway. I've been doing a lot of seed giveaways on my channel here recently, and I just want to say thank you to everyone that has shared it and commented and answered the giveaways. This week I'm going to do 3 packs of zinnias. We have a yellow, a mixture of all of the colors that grew in my garden this year, and then a pink and purple mixture. The rules for entry are going to be a little bit different. In the past, you could do basically any of the following things to enter, but this week I'm going to make it a requirement to like the video and to comment down below your favorite variety. I know it's hard, but just try to choose. So you have to do those 2 things to enter. You don't have to subscribe. You don't have to do any of the other things, but you must like the video and comment down below to enter. And then for extra entries, you can subscribe, you can share to Instagram, you can tag a friend, you can tag as many people as you would like. And every person you tag will be another entry in the giveaway. You can share it to Facebook. Just make sure if your name on Instagram or Facebook is different than your YouTube name, that you tell me that in the comments so that I can verify who you are. Because if it's different, I won't know who that is and it won't count. So just make sure you let me know that in the comments. And then, like I said, you can do all of those things. You can do multiple people, but you must like the video and like the video and comment your favorite variety to enter the giveaway. And again, this is going to be US only, unfortunately, since my channel is not yet monetized. I just can't afford to do international shipping at this time. But hopefully in the near future, I will be able to do an international giveaway for you guys. All right, well, good luck, everyone. All right, so we're here in my garage now. I've got some zinnias that have been laying out here to dry a little bit more for a few days now. And basically, this is just what I'll do. If I have the space, I will pick more, but if I don't, then I'll just pick a couple at a time, a couple varieties at a time, and I will lay them by a label and just, leave them to dry for a few days, and then I'll come back and I will begin harvesting the seeds. The next step after I harvest the seeds is to put them in something like a little plastic cup or a plastic bag or a paper seed envelope, and I just make sure to label it and store it in a cool, dry, dark place. The only thing is, when you put them up in especially something plastic, make sure they're completely dry. I usually leave the lid off for usually 4 to 5 days at the least, just to make sure they're completely dry, because sometimes they'll seem dry. I'll put the lid on and then there's, you know, some kind of mildew or something growing on it, and that's the worst when you have, you know, 100 plus seeds that you have to throw away because they weren't completely dry. So I'll leave the lid off of it for a few days, and then I will, you know, come back and put the lid on it. But a lot of the times I leave it in a plastic cup like this, labeled, but then I will put it in a brown paper seed packet. Here are just a couple of seed packets that I actually have for a seed swap that I'm doing. I ordered these off of Amazon, and I think 100 pack. I got some small ones and some a little bit larger ones. I usually use this for things like tomatoes, cucamelon seeds, like really small seeds, and then I'll use these for the seeds that are a little bit larger, and they work perfectly. Alright, so we've got our zinnia here, and as you can see, it's very dry, which is how you want it. And all you're going to do is grab onto some of the petals and wiggle until they come right out. And this is what you're going to be left with. They are little arrow-shaped seeds. This is just the dried up petal, and this is the seed. So all I do is I take my fingernail and I tear that right off. You do want to be careful not to squeeze too hard on the seed. You may crack it, but what I usually do is as soon as I pull them out, I'll just go ahead and pull those off a few at a time, just like that, and just keep repeating that process until I have 50 to 100 seeds just off of a couple flowers. You really never have to buy seeds again. For flower farming, which is something I'm going to be doing next year, we're going to be planting a cut flower garden, and I'm going to be making and selling bouquets. You know, of course, for that purpose, I will need to make sure and purchase certain varieties to ensure that I have certain ones. But for your, you know, ordinary backyard garden. But as you can see here, you know, a minute or two in, and we've got tons of seeds already. I apologize, there's going to be a little shift in light because I had to shut my garage door because it is starting to storm outside. But I wanted to show you, that's what it looks like when the petal is attached. Now, if you go where, I forget what this part is called, but it's, you know, the center of the flower, this part right here. If you go there, there's all these little casings almost, and sometimes there will be mature seeds in there. You have this little white, clear, pinkish casing, and then you have a seed inside of it. Now, if it's not dark and solid, then it's not a completely mature seed, but sometimes they are mature enough to where they germinate. So I usually keep those. I just keep them separately, and I know to plant several of those when I go to plant them. And then, you know, these I can usually just plant one and I know it's going to germinate. But then once you get closer to the top, you will end up finding some that are completely white, and those are not going to germinate whatsoever. All right, guys, so it started storming really loud, so I am here a little bit later on in the day, and I just wanted to show you a couple more examples of the flowers before they get like really dried out and brown, so that you can get a little bit better of an idea of what you're looking at exactly. It can be hard whenever they're, you know, looking like this for you to know what I'm really talking about. Now, this is one that is a single. It's called Purple Prince, and it's actually supposed to be a double, but sometimes if you disturb their roots too much when transplanting them, they can revert back to being a single bloom. So you can see here, there's only, you know, one layer of petals at the bottom, sometimes like two, and then that's it. And you've got your center right here. And then this one, a lot of the petals have been taken out by birds. but there used to be petals all along where those empty spots are as well. So I'm going to start here for you and show you what it looks like when it's not yet browned and dried up. So as you can see, you've got your petals here, and then you have your arrowhead shaped seeds. You can just take your nail and take those right off just like that, and you are left with your seed. Now that one has a little bit of white at the tip, so you know that's what it will look like if it's not completely mature, which you know you can see that this is still a good looking bloom, so that's why it's not completely mature. But I usually have pretty good luck getting ones like this to germinate, even if it's not completely you know, dark all the way throughout. Seems I've got some pen on my hand from writing, taking notes before I film this video for you guys. And then again, it's going to be the same thing even with your ones that are double. Just pull a couple of those out. Pull this petal off, just like that. And then you have your seed. All right, guys, well, hopefully you see how extremely simple it is to save seeds from your zinnias, and I encourage you to go out and try it either this year if your plants are still out there, or next year. Seeds can definitely get expensive. I've always in the past just gotten seeds from my local big box stores, and since I am going to be starting a flower farm next year, I did order from a few different places like Johnny's, M.I. Gardner, Baker Seeds, several places actually. And I am getting ready to film a seed haul for you guys. I went a little overboard. I have several packages of seeds to open for you guys, so make sure you check out that video, or keep an eye out for that video. But I did just want to talk a little bit about these varieties that I have here. You saw all the seeds that I have in my little grow room that I showed you at the beginning of the video, and these are all the ones that I have a lot of experience with. But I did order a lot of the really popular Benary's Giant, Queen Lime, you know, just all kinds of new varieties. But you can get some really great varieties from your local big box stores. This Early Bird, the State Fair, and the Cut and Come Again, these three, excuse me, gave me so many different colors, like, there were reds that like had a pink center. There were oranges with a pink center. There were solid colors, pinks and purples, like every hue of pink you can think of, a lot more than what you see on this seed packet. And I used to not get these kinds for a long time. Excuse me, goodness. I didn't get these for a long time because sometimes when you look at the colors on the pack together, it doesn't look right. And you picture that in your garden and you think, well, I don't like that variety. And when I thought about it, I'm like, well, I'm not going to be planting all of these in my garden right next to each other. I had a really long garden bed this year and they were all spaced out. So you didn't see all these blooms, you know, this, you know, blood red with this bubblegum pink. So in the garden, it actually looks really pretty because they're not all together like that. So maybe that's something that you've thought of before and didn't get the mixes for that reason. So I just wanted to point that out to you as well.